Alright, so here we are, about ready to start. This is my helper 1 and helper 2. Here are the ingredients. These are very specific. You need to get the right brand of bread. That's very important. This comes from like Kroger or Dillon's. Very good. Butter. You want olive oil and sea salt, Land O'Lakes. It's very nice. You can get this at any grocery store. Lawry's garlic salt, green lid. And brand on this is not so important. The important part is that it's Munster cheese. Munster. Alright, next step will be prep. Alright, one additional thing that I forgot to tell you about was the soup, the accompaniment soup. This stuff will really set off your grilled cheese sandwich. So this you can get at pretty much any grocery store. You'll find it in the health food aisle, not next to the Campbell's or anything like that. It's down like the health food aisle in the organic stuff. And make sure that you do not get the low sodium soup. They make the same version of this just in low sodium. It'll say it right on the label, like right up front, and it is terrible. So don't get low sodium. Alright, and now my lovely assistant will show you the equipment that we are going to be using. This first item is a pot. It will be what the soup goes into. We prefer non-stick. These items over here, we have a knife, which we will use to spread the butter on the individual pieces of bread. Then we have a flipper. This is a professional flipper. You don't necessarily need one this amazing, but you do need something to flip your sandwiches. And then if you're serious about making grilled cheese sandwiches, I suggest you get a nice large griddle. Something that can handle many sandwiches at once. Unless, of course, you're only making one sandwich, then just a regular frying pan will do.
Liza?
The letters.
I don't know.
Okay, now the next thing, when I pull the bread out, I pull it out in the exact number of slices that I will need, and I keep the slices together so that they, I keep them paired the way they were in the bag, so those two pieces will make one sandwich and they will fit nicely together. Because you will notice when you get this loaf of bread that it's not a square loaf like we're used to, so not all the pieces fit together. You can't stick an end piece with a middle piece.
Did you delete the other?
Alright, this next part that I'm going to show you is the buttering. This is very important, very critical. When you put the butter on, make sure that it gets all the way up against the edges. You're going to coat the entire piece all the way to the edges. Alright, now you can see that this piece has got butter over the entire surface. That's what we're going to do with all the rest of these pieces. Alright, the next step is the garlic salt. We're going to just give these a nice sprinkling. Don't really get too worried about overdoing it.
It's really good.
This stuff is great. But that's what we're doing. And we're not worried about getting it on the griddle either. Alright, the next step is to put the cheese on. You'll notice that we hadn't done that yet. So what we're going to do is flip it over, put the butter side down, get both pieces up, get that done with all of them. Voila. And then what I like to do is open up one side just like that. I put the other piece over there so I don't lose track of what goes where. Then I put a piece of cheese on. I get it, like a 1/4 inch from the edge. And I don't have stuff overhanging. I break it off and then I put the broken piece over there somewhere. Again, the cheese is going to melt and spread out. And what I like to do is get 2 slices of cheese per sandwich. So again, break it off, get it away from the edges. Put that over here. That is one, and then the bread top piece comes right back on. I'm going to do that with the rest of them, and then we'll be buttering. Alright, so now we got our cheese in, all of them are in. The next step is just repeat the butter process on the top side all the way to the edge over the entire thing. I'm going to do that with all 4. Alright, now the only remaining step here is to just, again, put garlic salt on it. Get it all around. Again, don't worry too much about getting too much on there because the stuff tastes great. Alright, now we're going to turn it on. I get my griddle up nice and warm. Probably around 300. Oops, I'll plug it in first. There we go. Now it's going to cook hotter, obviously, close to the, what is that, the plug. So I'm going to keep them moving around. I'm going to let it get hot, and then I'm going to circle them around like a carousel. All right, now we get the soup going. Then we're going to pour it in. Again, roasted red pepper, full sodium. It's your judgment call on how much to put in there. Depends on how many people you got coming. Alright, so like I was saying earlier, now we're going to move the sandwiches around so that they get equally cooked. It's a little tricky trying to make room for one while the others are still on that same side, but you can figure it out.
That's why you need a...
Alright, so the next thing that I'm sure you're wondering about is when to flip. Alright, so what you'll notice is the butter along the edges starts to melt while the rest of the butter in the center is not melted. So when you start seeing it melted on the edge, that's a good indication that you're getting hot and the cheese might be melting inside. So you don't want to flip too early because the cheese won't be melted and everything will come apart on your flip. But also, I have noticed that when you stop cooking on one side, if you flip it early and it's not as brown or golden as you want it, it doesn't ever cook as easily when you put it back on that side. So you want to try and get it right on the first try. So you watch the edges. When it starts melting, you're getting really close to being able to flip. See that? Perfect. So we'll just take a peek at one of them. It's looking real nice. So right. There we go. And see, actually, I normally like mine a little bit more. Like this is perfect here. This I like a little bit more. So I'm gonna move these around a little bit, give the others a little more time to cook before I flip all of them. Okay, so one other point, when you flip them, these are looking really good as far as I'm concerned. When you flip them though, the second side cooks a lot faster, so you want to make sure when you get them going, you also keep them moving around pretty quick. It doesn't take near as long to do the second side. Perfect. Alright, here we are. I'm thinking we're done. Looks good on both sides, so bon appetit. We've got our soup ready to go as well. So, perfect. Hope you enjoyed that.